our Tremolo series.
In this series, we're going to share with you tremolo pedals by some of our favorite manufacturers.
Thanks for joining us. Today we're looking at the Signature Analog Tremolo by Hamstead Soundworks, and the Beard's going to tell you more about it.
Yeah, so another great tremolo pedal. This one made by, like I said, Hamstead Soundworks. We had the opportunity to interview Tim Steer from Hamstead about what they're doing. Started as an amp company. They make incredible amps. They get high praise for their amps, and they've started making some pedals too. I think they have 3 different pedals out right now. So in the 19 conversation series we did, we sat down with Tim for about an hour, talked to him. Definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of cool stuff happening.
A British accent, for one.
Right. I mean, and that
he could have said anything. We'd be like, that's true.
Yes. Yes, you're so smart.
That's right.
So, this is classy.
Yeah, I held this out. This is the box it came in, and I swear you think you're buying like a high-end cufflink or something at Harrods in London. I mean, it's really a nice box. It is first class from the time you see the box.
Right, packaging.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. And so speaking of which, and we don't typically do this, like let's draw some attention to the owner's manual that comes with it. But the owner's manual is nice, glossy pages, has nice pictures in it. One of the things that we did really like about this is they give some like kind of pre-thought out settings in there. So they have their signature sine wave, a 61 Prince, a blackface, side chain sawtooth, reverse sawtooth, Valco 6156, triangle. So they give you some ideas on how to like set up to get some of maybe those classic sounds that you want to get out of tremolo. So we just thought, right from the get-go, opening the box, looking at the manual, looking at the pedal build is incredible. Just some really nice stuff.
Kind of
another
unique
manual on the floor.
We usually throw the instructions away, but it had glossy pictures. And the pedal's blue. But it has like a slight angle to it, the shape of the pedal from the side.
Yeah. So everything about it, right away, you're going, wow, this is cool. So let's look at features real quick. You have, as any tremolo would, we have a depth and a speed to start off. And then we have a gain knob, which is really interesting. I wanted to remember... We mention the perceived volume loss all the time.
Right.
I was watching an episode of That Pedal Show, and Dan was talking about that, and he called it a psycho acoustic. I forget what he called it, but it was a great. Go check out Dan and Mick talking about the psychoacoustic effect of the tremolo effect. But that gives you up to a 10 decibel boost,
right.
And we actually found, I think
somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, we've been having it up there. But it gives up to like a 10 decibel boost. So if you turn everything kind of down, you can use it as a boost a little bit. Although I don't know why anybody would want to because it sounds so good.
Right.
But we did determine that with the depth all the way down and clicking this pedal on it just has a warmth to it.
Right.
That maybe you would want to do that. All right. Another interesting feature is the shape knob. There is a little notch right there in the center. So as you're turning the knob, you click kind of into the center. If you move to the left, you are taking your waveform and pushing it to the left. If you move to the right, you're pushing your waveform. And it's really easy to understand that if you talk about the triangle wave. So if you're thinking about your peaked triangle, as you roll that knob to the left, you're doing this kind of thing until you're straight up and down. And so that's how you can get those, like, on the triangle setting, get those, like, sawtooth and reverse sawtooth forms out of the pedal. Yes. Classic signature triangle wave. The classic's based on like a tube biased vintage amp tremolo. Signature is their signature. This is the tremolo circuit pulled out of the Hamstead amps. The story, Tim tells the story of how that came about in that episode we were talking about. And then finally you have a triangle wave. They had another version of this pedal previously, so this would be the MKII. And the triangle is a new feature added to this pedal. expression pedal port on the back. Can be run at 9, 12, or 18 volts. And there's an internal dip switch that you can set it to always on. So if you're using a
Switcher.
Yeah, like a loop switcher, like the Gig Rig or the dumb switchers. I think in the one episode with Drew Swindler, we called them dumb switchers, or any of that, like the quartermasters from Gig Rig, or trying to think of some of that. Boss has some of them. Any of the loop switchers. If you're using something like that, you can set this pedal to just be always on because it's in your switcher, and then when you click your switcher on, it will be on, and then you don't have to worry about whether you turned it on or off. If you're using it in line, you'd want to leave that off so you can press the button to turn it on or off. And speaking of,
yes,
this is the Opto switch from Gig Rig. So they've partnered up with Gig Rig to use. Did I say Gig Rig?
You said Gig Rig. I think Dan could use a Gig Wig.
That's a new product coming soon.
It's the Gig Wig from...
They've partnered up with Gig Rig. They're friends with Dan. And they're using his switches. And I never knew this, but they're optical. There's no
click.
No click. It's an opto switch. And it's a really rugged feeling. It's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. It really is nice. So I think... that's features. And we're going to get into, I guess, sounds. So where do we start on that?
We start with my 2001 PRS single cut through the Beard's Tyler PT-22 amp. That sounds great all by itself. Both pickups. A little bit of reverb in the amp. I was hard chops to hear how much reverb's there.
Okay. So let's start on the sine wave, which is their signature sine. They've put a lot of effort into getting it to be a real sine wave. So apparently a lot of what people would say is the sine wave isn't like a real sine wave. And Tim talked about that in that series too. So if you want more in depth, people tell us we talk too much already, so we're not going to go into it right now. You can go back and
But he played in the intro, so you already heard some playing. That's why we front load our videos with some playing. So at least we played right away.
And timestamps too. Check the timestamps if you want us to shut up.
Take your finger and just scrub if you need till you see this happening.
So let's start on their signature wave. We'll leave the speed about 50%. We'll leave the shape in the middle, so it's a real sine wave. Leave the gain where it is. And why don't you play, and I'll roll the depth all the way down, and then go back to the middle and roll the depth all the way up, so we can just hear the range of depth that the pedal has.
Okay. Between that amp and that tremolo, that's a really warm sound in the room.
Mm-hmm. It has a really nice, even when you roll it all the way down and it kind of disappears, there's still just that little bit of like, we feel like there's still that little bit of...
We kept leaning in close, like, do you hear that? There's definitely something. What is that?
Yeah, it sounds good. Speed, we want to give like a quick just highs.
Yeah.
We could do that maybe just with some stringless drums and holding the chords.
Yep. You get your flock of hummingbirds at the end.
Real slow all the way up to a flock of hummingbirds. Gain? Should we do the game?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? We like gain. Just real quick. I just did that because I felt it breaking up that last when you had it dimed. I thought, I wonder what kind of drive that 10 dBs does. Very classic sounding.
Yeah. I thought it held the sound of the guitar the whole way up too. Like it wasn't like we weren't losing the sound of the guitar and putting like gain and drive on it. We were just really pushing.
It got a little brighter, but not. We're still in the room.
Right. So that takes us down to the 3 different sine waves and then the shape knob. And so what I've been thinking about how to do this. I think the shape knob has the most effect on the triangle wave. Or maybe not the most effect, but where you can hear it the most. So I thought it may be interesting to play the 3 different waveforms. Just kind of independently without messing with them. Give them medium depth. Maybe push the depth just a little bit so people really can hear it. Keep the speed kind of in the middle. Play the 3 different sine waves. Then we'll stop and come back and talk about the shape knob.
Okay.
And I'll start on sine wave. We'll go to classic and then go to triangle.
All right.
And the triangle wave really still sounds real natural. It's not like...
Right.
It has a real nice sound to it.
There's nothing harsh about this pedal. It's like they've taken every rough edge and just slightly sanded it to be as nice as the packaging.
So let's
It's lovely, I think, as Tim described it.
Yes, it's lovely. Let's do this. Let's turn the depth up pretty high. Let's turn the speed down pretty low. And then we'll walk to the right is getting more of a sawtooth, and to the left is more of a reverse sawtooth. So we'll start, I guess, maybe going to the right.
Okay.
And so this, all the way to the right, you'd be kind of ramping off with a quick drop off, and then ramping up with a quick drop off. And then we'll roll that back to. But I think for you, like just maybe like a big chord. Strumming, just so we can hear that what's happening in that waveform. If we slow it down enough and make it deep enough, you should be able to hear it.
Okay.
So in the end, I did take it back over, and just so you can see that it still will affect those other ones too. But you can hear that with it slow like that. If you listen carefully, you can hear when it goes to the right, you can hear it kind of ramping up and then dropping off
Right.
quick. And all the way to the left, you can hear it kind of hitting and then falling
dropping
off.
Right, yeah.
But still real natural, and certainly you wouldn't have to go to those extremes. You wouldn't run it like in a musical context. If you're using it within a musical context, you probably, depending on what you want, wouldn't run it.
No,
That
we just
extreme.
did it just to demonstrate the variance of the waveforms and how they react. So yeah.
Of course, if you would crank the speed up way high and keep the depth high and do that, you might get a real interesting, like... real interesting, like, choppy effect out of it. So the only other thing that we haven't showed you is expression pedal. And so what we did, put the expression pedal in, turn the speed all the way up on the pedal. We're using a Moog
EP2.
EP2. On the side of the Moog EP2, it has a little wheel. So you can roll that wheel back a little bit. So the expression pedal is going to control from heel slow, toe fast. Toe will be wherever you have this one set. So you could leave that wheel on the EP2 all the way up and just roll this back to where you want the toe to be.
That's true.
We just have it where we have this all the way up and have it rolled back on the EP2
Just
to where
a little bit, yeah.
where we want it to be. We definitely probably don't want all that.
Get to the chopper.
Well, which one do you like? What do you want to, since you're playing?
I'm going the sine wave,
With a sine wave?
Yeah.
Good. Hamstead Signature sine wave.
as the creator intended it.
And then depth,
Yeah, somewhere sane-ish.
same-ish. Gain a little bit. All right. You demonstrate.
That's not what we're going to do, but we're going to do it.
That sounds so good though. When you, we're fans of the ramp. We're fans of the ramp up and the ramp down. We would have put a expression pedal cam up, but Pat showed up in his flip flops or his slides today, and we know about the YouTube ban on
You got feet.
uncovered feet in pedal demos.
I know how I feel. I don't have a foot thing, but I don't like to see people's feet on pedals. I just don't. I mean, I went and saw Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree play. The dude walks around barefoot all the time, but I'm just like, I don't get it.
But we had Bosco France on the channel.
That's true.
Just saying.
We don't mind bare feet. I just don't want to see mine.
Yeah, we just don't want to like a zoomed in picture of their feet on pedals. It was actually in the it's in the rider. We're not allowed to do that.
It's for your protection, trust me.
So, Hamstead Signature Analog Tremolo, the MKII. Big shout out to Tim for helping us get this in a little bit. He helped us out a little bit to make it possible. And then everybody else at Signature. It's a small company. I mean, it's, you know, and the story behind the company is really, really interesting. Hamstead himself, who does the design, sounds like a really interesting guy.
He's advanced in years as well. So
Yeah, kind of retired from a career, started building amps. I'm not even sure that he plays. Is he a player?
Not even sure he was even a player.
Yeah, but just put his like vast knowledge of electrical experience, electronics, into this, and has come up with a really killer company. So we're really, really excited that we got the opportunity to get this one in to check it out. We love everything they're doing. And with that, more tremolos to come. We so appreciate everybody that's been supporting the channel to make this happen. You do that by clicking like. You do that by subscribing to the channel. That helps us get more stuff in, do more videos. You can go to Instagram or Facebook, follow us there too. All those, every time that you interact with us, either by following, liking, or leaving a comment, it helps the channel out, and we appreciate you in that effort so much. And I think with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Even when it's a game changer and a dispatch master, and
we're
gonna
hitting
go
all.
for it all.